That way, I'm trying to tell you how stupid or impossible they are. Unfortunately, it means you have to do all the heavy lifting by yourself. And when you want to take the project indoors to, say, the dining room table, there's no one there to hold the door open for you. Well, here's a simple solution. Mount a rope from the door into the chuck of your electric drill, then plug the drill into a motion detector. That's the part that'll open the door when it sees you coming. Now to close the door, take that old thigh master from the bottom of your wife's to-do list and hook that on there as your spring-loaded door return. And she works like a charm. As soon as I get past the threshold, the motion detector shuts the drill off, the thigh master will close the door. Men have trouble communicating. They say we don't talk very much. You older guys know what I mean. Remember 20 years ago when you asked your wife to marry you and she's been waiting for a half-decent follow-up question ever since? And it's not, are you going to finish that sandwich? But I find that as men get older, they actually talk more than they did when they were young. The only problem is, they're the only ones in the room. You've all been there, haven't you? Wandering around the house looking for your car keys. Pretty soon you're muttering away like that weird guy in the park who thinks your dog is a communist. Oh, sure, sometimes we try to cover it by talking to the TV or the radio, but I think deep down we all know that the guy selling Speed Stick can't hear you telling him where to speed stick it. But in my opinion now, talking to yourself is nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, you have things that need to be said and you don't want to offend anybody. You know, by saying them to yourself when you're alone, you're probably saving your job, your marriage, maybe even your life. So ladies, when you see us talking to ourselves, just leave us alone. You know when we're ready to have a conversation, because we'll clam up. Remember, I'm pulling for you. We're all in this together. I know we all want to celebrate New Year's, but when you're alone, there's a real danger of going over the line between harmless indiscretion and serious jail time. And that line is usually connected to the amount and frequency of your alcohol intake. You see, when you're alone, you don't have an alcohol consumption consultant nearby. Like, say, a policeman or a member of the clergy, or the ultimate authority, your own wife. But here's something you can do to stop yourself from drinking too much. Open up your clock radio. Break into the snooze control circuit. Not hard to find. Just keep touching wires and pushing the snooze button. You'll find the right ones in no time. Now, the way a snooze alarm works normally is, you press the button, it shuts the radio off for an hour. But for our purposes, I'm going to splice into the dispensing circuit on this pop machine. Okay, you might want to unplug her first, but I don't have that kind of time. Okay. Now what happens is, you take all the pop out of there, replace it with cans of your favorite fermented beverage. All right. Now it's New Year's. You feel like a brewski? You press the button, which also activates the snooze control. And now you can't have another beer for an hour. Happy New Year. Swearing. Okay, now we got the easy part. We just form the element elements into the letters for our New Year's Eve sign. See, this is the letter T. Today's Handyman Corner is brought to you by the letter T. Now, if it doesn't work, it'll be the letter B. Because if she doesn't work, letter B. Okay, now we just form the rest of the letters and then join all the elements together, making a sign that's not only bright, but also toasty warm. Okay, our sign's all done, and I got the elements hooked up to these wires. And then to supply the electricity, I got the other end hooked into the power supply on one of my toasters. Now when I push down this little lever, we're going to have an impressive display. But I got to wait for night, because I got the control set on dark. Okay, we're all set. So let's send our lit New Year's message out to the world. Just a little something from all of us to each of you. I want to talk to all you middle-aged guys who are out celebrating New Year's this year. You know, it's never too soon to start thinking about the midnight kiss. Had a bit of a car accident this morning. You know, I used to be able to drive standard transmission no problem. But now with the trick knee, this is one of those spinning playground rides. Luckily, there were no kids around. They'd already been on it for 5 minutes, so they were over in the bushes barfing. I think Dalton was with me. This is his car. Yeah, she's jammed on there pretty good. She spins around in a circle. But I'm thinking, hey, wait a minute. This is New Year's Eve. And this rotating car could be converted into a dandy noisemaker. I got everything I need right here. Anybody with half a brain can do this. We gotta have music at midnight, so I hooked the speaker up to the 8-track, and right at the stroke of 12, we're gonna be listening to Old Lang Syne, played by Guy Linguini and his Royal Custodians. But mainly what we need is noise. So I've attached a tambourine to my drive wheel. Meanwhile, I got maracas playing Wipeout on the windshield. And as a special treat, I wedged a trombone into the tailpipe. Not often you see a car with a horn in the back. I guess it's a guy thing. Okay, that's a good start. But when it comes to being annoying, we've only begun to scratch the surface. Addition to a New Year's party because it's just like the guests. It stands around looking goofy, and then when you need it, it falls over. Hopefully it'll be as noisy as the guests too, especially once these hockey sticks start raking across it. I think it's time for a test run. I got her in gear, and I hooked up this remote starter, so I don't even have to be in the car when it starts spinning. I pretty well thought of everything. Place to have a bruise, but after 35 years of marriage, sadly, no one's going to notice. All right, let's pretend it's midnight. Let's do the countdown together. 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Special presentation by local animal control officer Ed Fridd. Ed, tell everybody what we're up to here, right?
Well, I was asked to make a presentation.